Product design director, yeah. So yeah, that's right. My job at Monitor Audio is I'm head of industrial design and development, and I work very closely with another guy called Michael Hedges, and he is our technical director. We've worked together for a long time. He's worked for the company over 2 periods of time. I've been there now for 20 years this October. So yeah, I've been responsible for many products. I go back to Silver Series RS, which was 2005. That was the first loudspeaker development that I was involved in. But yeah, that's not why we're here today. We're here to talk about Hyphen. And what we'll do is talk a little bit about why, play a couple of songs, so you're not listening to me waffle on too much. Then we'll go back to a little bit more of the technical story and why it is the way it is. So first thing, why? We were challenged, Michael and I, 4 years ago by our company owner. Monitor Audio is still privately owned. We're the largest privately owned British loudspeaker manufacturer now. So we're still 100% shareholded in the UK, and the chairman and our CEO, so Andrew Flatt and Rob Barford, challenged Michael and I to develop something to celebrate our 50th birthday, which was just coming to the end of our 50th year anniversary celebrations now, and to develop a product which was the statement of that. And we took that very literally, and we looked at a lot of different ways we could proceed, and one of the key things we wanted to do was make sure we did something that was vision forward. There's a lot of trend in the audio market right now of looking back, of the good old days. And we do that too. You know, I'm nostalgic, but what we really want to do is look forward and what could we do as a brand, and what could we really innovate into. So that's what this is about. So that's why we initially developed a prototype speaker called Concept 50, and we took that to Munich in 2022, and yeah, it went down a storm. We were really humbled by what the press and the public said to us, so now we've come to the production version, which is how Hyphen. Yeah, so today is our North America debut. This is the first time the product has been on show in the US. That's why I've come over here, special for the event. And it really is a statement of our technological intent looking forward. I think probably the best thing to do now is play your song, and then we'll get into a little bit of the technical configuration and why it looks the way it does. When Michael and I started this project, we had no we deliberately set ourselves a challenge about trying to have no preconceptions about what a loudspeaker should be. We wanted to really, take it back to a clean sheet of paper. We literally did that. We spent an afternoon doodling ideas back in 2019, 2020, just coming out of the pandemic, and we started talking about what if we could build a speaker around an ideal configuration. So we didn't start the design of let's make something bold. We sat down and I challenged Michael on what did he want out of a loudspeaker and what configuration he wanted to work with. He gave me that recipe, and that's what started the industrial design process. So that's why he started talking about point source arrays and getting things as close together as possible, and also the need to look at force cancellation. He wanted to work with that, and through my basic understanding of acoustics, I would challenge back on what can we do and how can we do it. And that's where I came up with the idea of, okay, what about inverting the bass drivers, that way getting them much closer, because they're working in exactly the same way, whether they're forward-facing or facing outwards. So that was the starting point with the two columns that we totally isolated. So one of the key things you take from the cabinet designs is all the different elements are actually very well isolated from each other. So we have this bridge here that holds the M array, which I'll go on to later, but we have the bass cabinets. These bass cabinets aren't supported or connected in any way through this bridge. The only thing connecting the two halves of this loudspeaker are the 4 beams, 2 per driver, which anchor the speaker together. Those four bass units are then held into position within the cabinet with just 4 bolts. So the whole assembly is held by just 4 screws. We did a lot of FEA work to make sure that would work. It does. The science backed up the simulation. And then a few things I really wanted, being an industrial designer, I was very insistent that we try and keep this structure clear and open at the bottom. So yeah, that's where we started with the bass cabinets. They might look like sealed boxes, but they're not. These are ported cabinets. There's 2 port tubes structured into the bottom. They actually form part of the skeletal structure of the cabinet, so help add to the rigidity. They're tuned from memory somewhere around 25 kilohertz, is it? I think. And up until that point, they're operating as a sealed box. So it's only kicks in that port tube when you really, really need that low down rumble. So yeah, pretty good in a big old room like this. So that's sort of where the cabinet design came from, and the cabinet sort of material. That's also quite important to this design. This is the raw material on the white finish. So this is it in its raw form. We're also going to offer it in a matte black, which is a painted finish, and the heritage green, which is a nod to British racing green. Something that I really wanted to bring in. We did a 50th anniversary loudspeaker last year in the same colour, so it really has become a house colour for us, which is great. So the raw material of this cabinet is actually a really dense acrylic polymer. It's a mix of acrylic and natural stone that is formed into sheet. It's incredibly dense, which means we can make it much thinner than we would normally make a loudspeaker cabinet, which means we can keep a nice big internal volume, which we need for good bass reproduction, but we can keep a relatively small loudspeaker. This speaker, it's only 1.5 meters. It's not tall for a flagship loudspeaker, but we still get that volume, we still get that performance. But that really rigid material was key to delivering that, and it's also incredibly inert. That's really important. So we don't get any resonances, and it works really, really well with those force cancel drivers. So we can keep bracing to a minimum and just use it where we need to use it, and keep lots and lots of internal volume and not swallow it up. So yeah, that's the how the bass cabinets work. I think we'll play another song or two, and I'll go on to the M array. Perhaps the boldest feature of the Hyphen is what we call the M array, which is our mid-range and tweeter configuration for the Hyphen loudspeaker, which was a unique design that the acoustic team spent a lot of time developing. There are unbelievably, perhaps, I've got a real issue with statement loudspeakers becoming like a wall of loudspeaker transducers, and I find that quite intimidating. And we have a design philosophy at Monitor Audio called our transparent design philosophy, and that's a lot about making what we do almost invisible. We want to be friendly. We want our products not to be aggressive and oppressive. So a key part of that is making sure we blend everything together. So in this loudspeaker there are 11 drive units in each one of these loudspeakers, but you don't really see them. They don't overpower you. And a key point of that is the M array, which the M array is formed of our MPD AMT transducer. The MPD is the micro-pleated diaphragm tweeter, and that development, which we really perfected for Concept 50 and Hyphen, has now already started filtering down into our new Synergy range, which is here this weekend as well, and the new Platinum 3G. So that technology is already beginning to filter into our new products. But then it's surrounded by something a little bit more unique. So we have these 6 2-inch mid-range drivers that surround the MPD tweeter, and they're flat-coned. What's quite unique about these is that Michael developed these to be full-range drivers. So these 6 things. And the way there is that we don't really have any limit then on where we cross them over. So they're quite effortless in the way that they work, which is really, really key to making sure this speaker is effortless sort of at any volume. So there was a lot of work done in making the little 2-inch drivers work beyond the limits that we require them. So you're not pulling it up or pushing it down to somewhere where it doesn't really want to go. And these little 2-inch drivers with the flat cone means we can arrange them in almost like a watch. We can form them really, really close and tight to the tweeter itself, and get these 6 drivers in a 5-inch diameter, which 7 drives in with the tweeter. So that really helps us keep that point source. And then your bass drivers right behind there. Everything is incredibly enclosed together. The other benefit of the flat driver, they are developed with the baffle within this shape. They are the team. We always what we call system design. Every component of this speaker is developed simultaneously, all the way down to the crossover. So it's not a case of picking and choosing components. All the components are developed at the same time to ensure they work well, and that goes down to the mechanical. Monitor Audio, we're quite lucky in that we have a full mechanical engineering and product design team working in the same office, which means there is a good amount of communication to ensure everything works well together. That's really, really important for us, and something that's often quite unique in our industry. So the way that these drivers work with the flat diaphragm means that we don't get any of the negative effects of having a moving piston so close to the tweeter. It's mostly flat, and the ribbon reads it as flat. So it's a really, really neat way of doing a point source dual concentric design. So that's the M array. It's a real sort of masterpiece of Monitor Audio R&D, I think, and it's something we're really, really proud of. And then this sits in this bridge around the product. This bridge is totally isolated from the rest of the product as well, so we don't get any issues with the cabinets resonating through that. Again, one of the benefits of force cancelled drivers is that there aren't really many to deal with anyway. We're only really dealing with the air energy inside. Great.
So we got one more track for you guys, and then we'll get into the questions.
Yeah.
If you don't wanna see